This is my video for chapter 5. So you have 3 main categories of joints: your synarthrotic joints, your amphiarthrotic joints, and your diarthrotic joints, which are also called your synovial joints. Now, your synarthrotic joints, an example is your sutures of the skull. So they can attenuate force but provide little to no movement of the articulating bones. They're bound together by dense fibrous connective tissue. And you don't really want them to move a whole lot because they're just there to attenuate force. Your amphiarthrotic joints, an example is the sternocostal joints, and they attenuate applied forces and allow more movement than synarthrotic joints, but you still don't want them to move a whole lot because, obviously you don't want your ribs to just move everywhere. So in amphiarthrotic joints, they're held together by a thin layer of hyaline cartilage. Now, your synovial joints are freely movable. They're characterized by articular cartilage, which you can't see here because it's a skeleton, an articular capsule, synovial fluid, and bursa. Now, there are 6 subtypes of synovial joints, and we're going to go in order from least mobile and most stable to most mobile and least stable. So, number 1, your gliding joints, which are like your intercarpal joints, like right here. In these joints, the articulating bones are basically flat, and the only movement that's allowed is non-axial gliding. So they're non-axial. Because they only provide a small degree of movement, it makes them the least mobile, but they're the most stable. Your second most stable and least mobile are your hinge joints, like the elbow. It's backwards on this guy. Okay. They're uniaxial. They're relatively stable, but can only provide motion in one plane, which is why they're the second least mobile. Your pivot joints allow for rotational movement. An example is between neck vertebrae, which you can see in this guy. Like this moves like that. Okay. So he's gonna fall down. Pivot joints are uniaxial and they're stable, but they can only allow movement in one plane, like your hinge joints before. Your condyloid joints are the joints in which one articulating bone surface is an ovular convex shape, and the others are reciprocally shaped concave surface. So they're biaxial, so they have movement in 2 planes, but they're less stable than the non-axial and uniaxial joints. So, an example is between your, he's gonna fall down. Okay, he's not gonna fall down. So, just like that. So an example is a radiocarpal joint right here. Your saddle joints are shaped like a saddle. They allow the same motion as condyloid joints, so they're biaxial, but saddle joints have more range of motion, which makes them a little bit less stable. And so like the carpo-metacarpal joint of the thumb right here doesn't move on this one, but it's a saddle joint. So now, number 6, the least stable but most mobile, your ball and socket joints. So like your shoulder or your hip. They're literally shaped like a ball in a socket, which is why they're called that. But the surfaces of the articulating bones are reciprocally convex and concave, and they're triaxial, so they can move in all 3 planes. Now, for proprioceptive neuromuscular facilitation, that is a stretching technique used to increase range of motion and flexibility. So PNF relies on reflexes to produce deeper stretches to increase flexibility. While there are multiple proprioceptive neuromuscular facilitation techniques, they all involve some pattern of alternating contraction and relaxation of the agonist and antagonist muscle. And they rely on stretching a muscle to its limit, which triggers the Golgi tendon organ reflex, which basically sends a message to your brain that says, I don't want that muscle to tear, and allows the muscle to relax more fully than it normally would, allowing for a deeper stretch. So, yeah, that's it.